Bobby MacAllister and Noelle Simpson walked up the cobblestone path, trailing way behind their Uncle Eb, who was carrying their suitcases. Uncle Eb turned around and motioned to them with his pipe dangling out of his mouth. "We're coming, Uncle Eb. Don't rush on account of me. Take in the beauty that God gave us," said Uncle Eb as he set the suitcases down for a minute and puffed on his pipe. Bobby and Noelle were in awe of their uncle's huge colonial house. They had never seen anything quite like it, at least not where they lived in New Mexico. Noelle and Bobby were fascinated with Maine, with the house, and even their Uncle Eb, whom they had never met until this very day. They never knew their family heritage. This was all new to them. It would be their summer adventure. Since Bobby's mom had died and Noelle's parents had divorced, Bobby's dad and Noelle's mom both thought it would do their children a lot of good to spend time with their Uncle Eb, who had been pretty much a recluse for the past few years. Uncle Eb wrote to his niece and nephew religiously, both through the mail and on email. He spoke to them on the telephone often, and he always sent them gifts for Christmas and their birthday. But they had never met their Uncle Eb, and they had never been to Maine, where the MacAllisters' family's roots lay. Bobby and Noelle were both 10 years old. They were as close as two cousins could be, so close that sometimes they behaved more like brother and sister. Bentwood, Maine promised to be a wonderful place to spend their summer. It was a small, quaint New England town with lots of cobblestone sidewalks, lots of maple trees, and a nice smell of good country air. Uncle Eb wasn't at all the way they had pictured him. They knew what he looked like, of course, from family portraits and from pictures he sent them, but he wasn't the way they thought he would be. Their parents had told him that Uncle Eb was a bit stiff and a little stuffy. But anyone who would carry their suitcases all the way up the cobblestone path couldn't be too stuffy, thought Noelle. Besides, Uncle Eb had always written her those beautiful letters where he would always end with a poem he had written. He sent Bobby lots of books on clipper ships, and he always wrote him about his love for the sea. He really was a lot taller than he looked in his pictures. A lot better looking in person, too. He seemed so different from their mom and dad. Noelle's mom was gregarious and always spending time with friends. Bobby's father was a lawyer, but he couldn't spell for beans. Uncle Eb was a writer, a lover of poetry, art, the sea. He was quiet, but he had a gentle face. Bobby and Noelle were determined to have a fun time with their Uncle Eb. "I like it here already. It's so beautiful," exclaimed Noelle. "You said it, cousin." Uncle Eb put the suitcases down on the porch and he called to the children. "Come on, kids. I'll show you your rooms." Uncle Eb led the way into his house. Bobby and Noelle stopped in the hallway entrance. There were so many huge paintings of MacAllisters, all of their ancestors. Bobby and Noelle were more than curious, but one picture stood out. It was a picture of a young girl. She was quite beautiful, and she seemed sad in her painting. "Uncle Eb, who is that?" asked Noelle. "That girl? That's Olivia MacAllister. She lived around the 1770s or 1780s. She died young." "Are these other ancestors?" Bobby asked. "Yes, that one there is Benjamin MacAllister, Olivia's father." "And who's that?" "That's Liza, her mother." "I never saw so many paintings. Who painted these, Uncle Eb?" "I believe a man named Samuel Jones. He was a friend of the MacAllisters. His sister married a MacAllister in the early 1800s. "We really have many ancestors," exclaimed Bobby. "When you get settled, I'll tell both of you all about our family history, the whole story. Want to hear about it?"
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.